Hi, I'm Emily, and welcome to the Spring Into Your Practice yoga series. Today is all about below the elbow. So forearms, wrists, hands, and fingers. Come into whatever seat you'd like with some sort of prop underneath you. I'm going to sit on a stack of blocks in Malasana or squatting. Taking a moment here, you can connect your thumb and your pointer finger together just very softly. Inhaling through your nose. Exhaling through your mouth. Inhaling once more through your nose. With the exhale through the mouth. Now see about sealing your lips, so you're inhaling and exhaling through the nose. That may not be an option today, but if it is, please take it. And if your eyes are closed, gently flicker them open. Moving right into some forearm fire here, bringing the arms up and overhead. Palms face out and away from you. Make a fist with the thumb on the outside and squeeze your fist together as tightly as you can. So if you have too long fingernails like I do right now, my nails are digging into my palm. I'm going to deal with that. Squeezing in and then flick your hands open. So squeeze them in again as tightly as you can, even the thumb pressing into the outside of the pointer finger, and then flick, squeeze, flick, crunch, and release, crunch, release, squeezing and flicking, squeeze and flick. Maybe now that you're starting to get the hang of it, picking up the pace a little bit, really try to almost like you're throwing something out of your hands every time you release, really making a fist every time. Picking up the pace, and at some point here you'll get to that moment where you go from thinking, yeah, this is fine, to, oh my goodness, my forearms are on fire. Right now I'm starting to think there's something funky going on here. Keeping the hands high up towards the ceiling as you can, as is okay on your shoulders. Really picking up the pace now. That will really intensify it. At some point, maybe your fingers start to resist the action of flicking. That's okay. Let them do that. But keep trying. Keep telling them what they should be doing. Just a couple more here. You can breathe out of your mouth if it's getting pretty intense. Fire's building. Last breath in. And then exhale, you can shake the arms out and down to the sides, coming off of whatever you were sitting on. Go ahead and bring one forearm down onto the ground. Take the other forearm just kind of underneath your wrist, using kind of the backside of your elbow, and start to give yourself just a little bit of massage, slowly moving towards your elbow, the forearm that's getting the massage. Having the hand pretty relaxed, and at some point you might hit a kind of muscle where you can press it and your hands actually kind of curl in, turning yourself into a little puppet, and that's fine. Moving back from the elbow towards the wrist. And once you get to the wrist, you can even explore a little bit of massage on the palm of the hand, just the elbow tip. And then when you're ready, bringing the other forearm down to the ground, elbow, kind of backside of the forearm to the wrist, moving towards the elbow. At any point, you can pause if there's a spot that's feeling particularly juicy and needs a little bit of extra love. It's fine. You do you. And then moving back towards the wrist. And then into the hand. All right. Coming into a tabletop position, so hips stacked over knees, shoulders over the wrists, and then bring a little bit more weight into one of your hands and then tense the fingertips of the other one. So now you're kind of on the finger pads, and pretend like you have a ball underneath that hand. So you're really trying to draw those fingertips together on the mat. They're not actually going to come together, but pretend like they could. And then bring some more weight over into the hand that's tented. Maybe you sit back a little bit on your hips to give yourself some more space so there's less weight in the hand, and tent the other hand. So now you have balls under both hands, and then both hands are tented. And then maybe you think about starting to bring your hips back over your knees and your shoulders over the wrists. Just getting to that point where you definitely feel some really strong activity. Like my hands are very strong. I'm not just kind of like lightly sitting on my fingertips here. I'm really engaged. I'm really like squeezing in to the center of my palms. Just another breath here. Sitting my hips back so I can release my hands, turning my fingers out to both sides. I'm just gonna sway from side to side. And then sitting my hips back, bringing my fingertips to point towards my knees, bending my elbows slightly, and then sitting back a little bit further. You can always do this with one hand at a time if you find that this way is much too intense for you. Getting a nice stretch through the soft underside of the forearm. And then bringing your shoulders over to release that. Fingers still pointing towards the toes now, but coming onto the back of the hand. So now the palm is on the ground. Sitting back, maybe giving a light micro bend to your elbows, and now getting a stretch on the outside of the forearms. Coming back over, bringing the hips forward, and slowly releasing one hand at a time. Come back to sit, shake out your hands, and get into the fingers now. So putting the palms together, each finger nicely paired up with its counterpart, and then bring the palms away from each other. And then you would start to bring the base of the fingers away from each other. So you're getting this nice stretch. So the fingernails are coming back in space towards the wrists. And then bring a little bit more intensity into the pinkies and push them really firmly together, and then roll so that it's more intense in your ring finger. Roll back to the pinky. Roll back the intensity so the base of the ring finger is coming together and the ring finger base is coming apart as the pinky bases come together. Roll a little bit here at your own pace. And then release that. Coming forward into a tabletop, we'll take a normal traditional plank to start. So whenever you're ready, tucking your toes, lifting your knees off of the ground. Really nice long plank, pushing the ground away from you. The neck is long, you're looking about maybe a foot in front of your hands. Your quads are engaging, pushing your thigh bones up towards the sky. And then your next exhale, you can push back into a downward facing dog. Notice how this downward facing dog feels in your hands and your wrists. Where's the weight? Can you bring more weight to the thumb and pointer finger side in this kind of L shape here? And then rolling forward into your plank pose, just pausing here for a moment, and this time really focusing on where you feel the weight. How do your wrists feel? How do your fingers and hands feel? And then lowering your knees down to the ground, sitting back, just shaking and releasing for a moment. Trying our tented finger tips in a plank and a downward facing dog. So see how this feels for you. So tenting your fingertips really strongly. So I'm trying to almost like squeeze them together on the mat. And then from here, tuck your toes, and we'll start by first going into a downward facing dog. So if this isn't gonna work for you, that's fine. You can always come back down into a normal downward dog. So bringing your knees off the ground, starting to lift your seat up towards the sky. And see how that feels, and then only then do you think about lengthening the legs, if it's okay on your hands to to be here. Just for a breath. One more. And then maybe you roll forward towards a plank pose. Maybe you have to wiggle your feet back. Pause there, and then whenever you're ready, knees down to the ground, sit back, shake out your hands. Here's an option that can feel really nice if you do have any kind of, especially a vinyasa flow class where your just wrists and aren't feeling good. You can take that same fist that we did with the forearm flick, we're not going to do it again, and place the kind of knuckle side on the base of the knuckles and the second knuckle onto the ground. Your thumbs are pointing out and away from you. They can be like stoppers when we come into downward facing dog. But start here and see how that feels. Up to you whether your fingertips kind of, your fingernails roll in or kind of sit on the outside. What's most important is that you have a nice straight line between your forearm and then through your wrist to the back side of the hand. If you want, tuck the toes, lift the knees off the ground, and come into a plank pose. And then notice how different this feels than a traditional plank. And then exhale, pushing back, maybe with bent knees to start, into a downward facing dog. And you might have to negotiate here to see how it feels in your downward facing dog. Maybe you can't go push back quite as far, and that's fine. You're just giving your wrist a little bit of space here. You might find that your thumbs are really acting as stoppers here to help prevent your fingers and your whole fist from sliding forward. Just play with it and see what might work for you. And then coming forward, bring the knees down to the ground, sitting back. Another great option if your wrists are bothering you is to do a dolphin pose. So you often might just do that with the whole forearm and hand on the ground, either hands clasped or parallel to each other. You could also try it on blocks with the forearms on the blocks, and then you can have the wrist and the hand hanging off of the front of the block. So now we're completely taking the wrist and the hands out of this pose, really. So tucking your toes, really engaging through your shoulders. So you see here, my chest is dropped down. I actually have my chest lifted. Then I can think about lifting my knees off of the ground, bringing my seat up to the sky, and then maybe walking the feet in a little bit. So certainly some work happening in my shoulders, a little bit in my forearms as my forearms are pressing into the block. But really largely my wrists and my hands can do whatever they want here. I could even rotate my forearms a little bit. So another option for you. Take one really nice inhale through the nose, deep. And then exhale, sigh it out of the mouth. And let the head drop. Bring the knees down to the ground. Coming into a seat on some sort of prop. Going through a quick finger tracing meditation. So you'll take your thumb to the base of your pointer finger. We'll inhale, slide the thumb up to the top of the pointer finger. Exhale, slide down. Move to the next finger to the base. Inhale to the top. Exhale down. Move to the next finger. Inhale, exhale, next finger, inhale, exhale. We'll do the pinky twice and come back. So your hands can rest down on your lap with the palms down. Palms facing up, back of the hand down. Base of the pointer finger with your thumb. Inhale to the top. Exhale to the base. Middle finger base. Inhale to the top. Exhale to the base. Ring finger base. Inhale to the top. Exhale. Pinky finger inhale to the top. Exhale to the base. Stay there. Inhale to the top of the pinky. Exhale to the base. Ring finger, inhale to the top. Exhale to the base. Middle finger, inhale to the top. Exhale to the base. Pointer finger, inhale to the top. Exhale to the base. Pausing here with maybe the thumb and pointer finger tips together. Just for one last moment. Thank you so much for joining today. You can bring your hands into your heart center. Namaste.